Cryptids. We've all heard of them. The Loch Ness Monster who swims in the Scottish Highlands, or the large winged humanoid with glowing red eyes called the Mothman. Here in New England, we have more cryptid creatures than I care to admit. We have the Dover Demon, the Hockamont Swamp Beast, the Gloucester Ghoul, and of course the most famous cryptid of all, Bigfoot. But today, my friends, we're traveling deep into the North Country of New Hampshire to Coös County to find ourselves the Wood Devil. I'm Kathy.
I'm Chris.
I'm Sean.
And this is Weirder After Dark. A couple weeks ago, we were up north in Pittsburgh.
Desolate.
Completely nothing. There's one store.
Yeah, there was literally a gas station / grocery store / fishing store / they still rented movies on VHS.
They sold clothes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of place where if it rains, there's literally nothing to do but watch the rain.
Being at the gas station, I watched a guy come in on his riding lawnmower to get gas. That made me so happy. I've never seen.
How did I miss that?
You missed that?
Yeah,
He must have been in the store. I pulled up on his John Deere from the 1960s, filled his gas, and took off on his lawnmower.
It was
the
great.
Gas
station.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rural New Hampshire.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure there was a horse there too at the time. Somebody brought their horse into the store. It was
Why
great.
the fuck not?
Well, the whole reason why I bring this up is because this is where our story today is going to take place. So Pittsburgh is in the heart of Coös County.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we tell stories based in New England, I think it's important to remember that our listeners aren't necessarily from here. And some of them who live in New England and outside of New England maybe never even been to New Hampshire. Never mind the furthest county in New Hampshire that hugs the border to Canada. So I feel it's really important to set the scene here. Coös County is known to hikers for the challenge and privilege of being able to radiate with pride of the achievement while they peer over the magnificent view atop Mount Washington, Monroe, Eisenhower, Franklin, or any of the other spectacular mountaintops that make up the presidential peaks of the White Mountains. The land is winding with rapid rivers that flow from snow-covered peaks to rushing currents filled with trout that leap from the cold water to catch the flies that hover just above the surface. Imagine the land that is covered with rich, dense forest that black bears, deer, and coyotes call home. The trees that tower so tall the tops look like they pierce the sky. It truly is a beautiful place, full of life that is worth exploring. There is the other side to consider. The land, rich with forests covered with untouched earth, where shadows dance across moss-covered rocks, where people claim that there are more moose than humans who inhabit the land.
Which I just want to go in. I have yet to see a moose up there. So just throw that out there.
And
I don't
that's
know.
actually not a true fact,
Yeah,
but people do say it.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind.
So it would be reasonable to believe that perhaps deep in the woods where the silence from Mother Nature fills the air, there could be life that is unknown. Creatures rarely seen, monsters that lurk and hide behind the very trees that line the path to places of beauty. So sure, why not? If we believe that, we might find ourselves face to face with the elusive Wood Devil.
It is so desolate up there. If there is a cryptid somewhere, I could see it living up there. You guys remember we went for a hike, went out to see the waterfall, which was absolutely gorgeous. We were on a back dirt road, literally a dirt road, no houses, just a road through the woods for 17 minutes.
It was long.
It was crazy.
And what I found the craziest part too is just I've done a lot of hiking, but those woods are dense. It is thick. Just trying to walk through those woods if you're not on a path is difficult. Oof.
So the land in northern New Hampshire is perfect for a creature like the Wood Devil. It's the kind of place where cell phone reception goes to die, whereas the towns get smaller, the trees get taller. So when stories emerge of something tall and gray and unusually quiet lurking behind the trees, even a skeptic like myself has to stop and say, maybe there's something out there undiscovered.
First of all, that line about the trees getting taller and the towns getting smaller is absolutely accurate. When we were driving up there, it was we're coming up to a town. We got to stop at Dunkin'. Oh, wait, there's nothing in this town. Oh, the town's gone.
I remember, too, when I was driving up, I was right on the border of New Hampshire, Vermont, and I was like, oh, I need to get some gas. Pulled into the town. I was like, there's not even a gas station.
Yes.
I can't get gas. Okay.
Well, the legend of the Wood Devil goes as far back as the 1930s, although some would even suggest that this creature has inhabited the rugged terrain as far back as to when the Coös Abenaki people used this region to travel back and forth to Canada, and they traveled the trails woven throughout the forest. They call the creature the Quack, half man, half animal, who would walk on two legs, hide in the forest, and would feast upon the poor souls it encountered. The legend says that these creatures were once human who, after being possessed by an evil spirit or being guilty of committing unforgivable crimes, would have their hearts turned to ice, causing them to become man-eaters who could never sedate the hunger within.
Ooh, this is eerily similar to the Wendigo from the Brunswick Springs episode I did.
I was thinking the exact same thing with that description. I almost wonder, is it like that the same idea, just two different tribes, different names?
I do touch upon that like later when we start getting into sort of some of the theories about how maybe some of these stories have blended or slightly changed a little bit because of different people retelling the stories with different backgrounds.
Yeah, because I remember the Abenaki were not a tribe. They were a group of tribes that had similar language and culture. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that they would have the same story, the same creature, but it would be a little bit different.
A little bit different. Well, in the 1930s, the region was being cleared for its lumber, and logging camps were popping up scattered all around. The rugged clusters of bunkhouses and cook shacks where the lumberjacks would live became the breeding ground for these stories as the men shared their experiences late at night. The men told stories of being out in the woods, carrying their tools and the weight from a full day's work back with them to their camp. When suddenly, they would say without warning, the creature that wasn't there a second ago would suddenly appear face to face to only dart away, and in the blink of an eye, the creature would be gone.
Oh, I hate how fast it sounds.
Very fast.
Yeah, like it almost sounds paranormal at that point, right? It just kind of appears. It's not like I heard a rustle in the woods and I saw him.
And then gone. Yeah. Ooh, I don't like that. I also I can just imagine being alone in the woods or one other person just like at night walking, like you hear sounds, you see things in the corner of your eyes, like, oh, it's so scary. It's so spooky.
Well, a man by the name of George told a similar story after a long day of hunting. He was heading back to his campsite, and the man found himself standing with a tall, hairy creature with what he described as the face of a horse. The moment, lasting only a second, felt like forever until the creature vanished, making George almost wonder if it had even happened at all. And another sighting involved a man who didn't see the wood devil at first, but claimed to have heard it. In 1952, while hunting in the Dixville Notch, a man, Robert, says he heard the wood devil's cry as it bounced off the trees. He followed the unfamiliar and terrifying screech, only to find at the end of his search what he described as a raggedy, hairy creature about 8 feet tall.
Why follow it?
That's
Why?
what I always say.
No.
These fools are out in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, I hear a big scary noise, and then they like, I'm gonna go follow it.
Oh, you hear that scream? Yeah. You want to go check it out? Fuck no, I don't want to go check it out.
Which way's the car?
Yeah.
It was then that Robert raises his hunting rifle, took aim, slowly inhaled, and as he placed his finger on the trigger, he let the bullet cut through the air, only to miss and send the monster running into the darkness of the night.
Chris, you mentioned this a few episodes ago on the Spectre Moose.
Yeah.
If you're a hunter and you shoot something and you miss, are you telling people you missed? That makes me feel like this is more credible.
Right. You know? And that the creature moves that fast.
Mm-hmm. Also 8 feet tall. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just weird. I'm wondering if it's Bigfoot, but it's misidentified, but it sounds a little bit different, right?
They all sound similar, but just slightly different, which is, I think, goes back to what we said earlier about the similarities. But we do get into some theories about potentially being related to Bigfoot. One man, while out on a photo shoot, trying to capture the perfect picture of the Pontook Reserve, heard a noise from behind him. Turning to see what it was, there was nothing there. So like people do in the middle of the woods when they're all by themselves and they heard a noise, they followed where the noise came from. And what he saw was tall and thin, darting from behind a maple tree, only to disappear. He stood for a moment, completely still, holding his camera, trying to gain focus, as the creature again sprang from another set of trees. Will clicked away, anxiously, hoping to capture the image of whatever it was that he was seeing. He spent the rest of the day trying to find this creature, hoping each turn of the path would lead him to the unknown beast. Unfortunately, when Will looked through his photos, as you can imagine, there was no image. The camera was unable to capture the creature's movement. He went back several times to try to find it, but the 7-foot-tall creature with dark, thick hair remained hidden.
Was it because he couldn't get the creature in focus, he couldn't take a picture, or was it that the creature somehow couldn't be photographed? Because you're dancing on the line between cryptid and something spiritual here, so it's...
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know if it was he was trying to focus the camera. Was it that the creature was moving so fast that he couldn't get it to capture it?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Or is the camera just not that good?
I love the pieces of the legend that's already being stitched together, though. We have a second 7 to 8 foot tall, call out here for this creature. And again, the speed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. The quickness, and it can hide behind a tree. Is that what you said?
That's what
So
I
that means it can't be like thick.
Yeah.
So it's like small, skinny, and fast,
very,
and 8
very
foot tall.
thin and lanky.
Even like a Bigfoot from like the stereotypical Bigfoot you hear about, they're probably too thick to hide behind a tree, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
The wood devils seem to have been the most active in this area between 1930s and the 1970s. Perhaps it could be chalked up as the hype of the Bigfoot sightings, UFO visitings, and it could be easy to say perhaps this was some sort of a hysteria, right? We know that happens. But what about experiences that came as recent as 2000 and 2004? In 2000, a man, Evan Lichnowsky, and his now ex-wife, they were hunting near Dummer Pond Trail. And as they took in the view of the sunrise, a dark figure suddenly appeared in front of them. It happened so fast that they couldn't even process what they had seen. As soon as it was there, they watched the tall, slim form make its way down the path to vanish into the shadows. He still wonders, what did they see? Did they see anything? And were their minds playing tricks on them? Did one make a suggestion and lead the other to use the words to fill in the spaces that the mind had blank? I don't know, but in 2004, 2 more people had a similar experience. At 5 a.m, 2 men were headed to their hunting spots when they saw the tall creature covered in gray, straggly hair and a pointy head standing on the path. The creature froze and then released a high-pitched scream, so loud that the men were terrified. They quickly hid behind a tree and watched the creature move down the ridge. Once they knew the coast was clear, as any good hunter would do, they searched for a trail. They used their tracking skills and found what they claimed were 2 footprints. These are the only ones that are actually having, I think, a realistic experience. They see this, scary creature. They hear this, horrifying sound, and they hid. I respect that.
Yeah, that's the only thing anyone should do. Yeah, natural reaction.
And if it's one person walking through the woods, that's suspect. But both of these 2 people thought they saw something, which makes it more interesting, right?
Well, now that we've discussed some of the stories related to the mysterious vanishing wood devil, we should discuss some of the similarities and differences, which I think we sort of been touching on. Because let's be honest, the physical descriptions, the creature's behaviors, and even the experiences, they've got some discrepancies. A major difference is although the Coös Abenaki described these creatures with gray, dark, tan, shaggy hair and a scream that would kill anyone who hears it, their legends told of a creature who was a giant who would tower over those it hunted. And the most obvious difference is that that creature would eat those that it found. The stories that stem from 1930 and the 1970s, they all describe the creatures as standing between 7 and 9 feet tall, which isn't small. But these creatures weren't hunting humans. If anything, the stories depict them as being fearful, hiding in shadows and trying to remain unseen. Some theorists believe that this creature is the cousin of the one and only Bigfoot, with the similarities that they are both tall, hairy human-like creatures that live in remote areas and elude capture and leave little physical evidence behind. Although in my opinion, the differences are many and drastic, I have to admit it doesn't steer me away from thinking of them as maybe being from the same family. The wood devil, with its lanky, thin, wiry figure, is silent, moves with a speed unlike any other animal in this area, and has the ability to vanish behind the trees. Unlike the Coös creature, the wood devil of the 20th and 21st century, it's elusive, skittish, and appears to want nothing more than to vanish without interactions. A physical difference I noticed was some of the stories describe this creature with a horse-like face. However, in some of the drawings of the wood devil, the creature has a more round head, often being shown with an eerie grin. Are these the same unknown creatures, or are our witnesses seeing different cryptids?
I feel like they're 2 different creatures from my standpoint.
Yeah.
When I start thinking about how you describe the Coös people and what they saw, and we start thinking about Brunswick Spring stuff that Chris had in his story, those sound eerily familiar. Like we have this hybrid human thing with a weird face and devour people. And then what I'm hearing from these other stories, it just seems like 7 to 8 feet tall, super skinny, elusive.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem to match to me. That tells me that there's 2 different unique things happening in the area.
I could match them up just because what if this creature is real and there's lore and myth and legend tied into the Abenaki stories, right? So here's a real creature, but they're also using him as a parable about the dangers of greed, the dangers of being a bad person.
Yeah. Do you have any images? You said there were images that exist.
I do. This is the Kiwaka.
Oh, wow. So that is a legitimate giant.
That is a giant.
Wow. So that's even bigger than what I imagined the Wendigo stuff looking like. That's 25 plus feet tall.
Yeah.
That's the size
huge.
of a building.
That's huge. It is a giant. So some of the descriptions, they're so different, but it just changes, I think, as the stories get older.
It's interesting to me that there was more sightings in the 30s to the 70s, because I think, and I don't know this for a fact, that that's when there was a lot more logging going on up there. So there'd be more people out in the woods who would have interactions with it. So that would kind of track with an actual creature, right?
But also, like, I don't know, more people out there, like, making shit up in the woods, just having weird, unexplainable experiences and just spreading rumors.
Yeah, I could see that being twofold, right? You see it going either way. There's more people up there telling stories, so they spread faster, more people making shit up, or more people around and they're actually seeing something. Because I know when we were up there, you could get turned around in the woods and never come out. Like, you could go 60 miles into Canada without ever seeing a trail or a person or a house or...
So imagine time where there weren't vehicles, there weren't roads. Yeah.
Well, there's also too, I mean, think about it, like they're still discovering creatures that are in the ocean. So the fact that there's parts of the ocean that have creatures living there that have never been discovered yet. So I don't know. I don't think it's that hard to believe. One of the theories is that this creature is the cousin to Bigfoot. So
Bigfoot on Atkins?
On Atkins?
He took a diet.
The Atkins diet.
The Atkins diet. I get it now. Oh, I wish I got onto that sooner. Some Bigfoot researchers who believe that he is actually not from this dimension and is fact of alien descent. So with the idea of the relationship existing, could the wood devil be vanishing because they too can travel through portals and they maybe could just be simply visiting like our small little planet Earth?
So that's interesting because we went to that lecture with Ronnie LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Bigfoot research guy. And he was talking about Bigfoot being a ghost or using portals. And in the beginning, I'm like, this is really fucking out there. This guy's crazy. But by the end, I was like, that makes more sense, right? That's why we can't find these things. They're using portals. They're disappearing. They're in UFOs. Yep. They're from a different dimension.
Interdimensional deep.
Yeah. I mean, if you believe in ghosts, maybe there's other dimensional beings moving in and out, and that's why we can't track them down. That's why we don't find them dead. It made a little bit of sense.
Well, I don't know if I buy into that theory, but I wonder if this creature is real. And could the discrepancies be because the creature has evolved over a few hundred years? As more humans travel the once isolated forest, could the creature actually have the ability to morph itself into something that appears more familiar? Hence the shape of the face changing from a horse-like image to that of a round head with eyes and a smile. Is this the creature's attempt to blend itself in? I think if we can consider portals as an explanation, the idea of a natural evolution of its ability to adapt to its surroundings should also be considered as a possibility.
I feel like I could buy that 10 times more than interdimensional.
Portals
Bigfoot.
And being turning, going invisible.
Like, if Bigfoot is an interdimensional being, why does he smell? like we haven't fixed the scent part yet, but you can go through fucking wormholes. Like, what the hell?
Well, then there's the last scenario, right? That these stories are just that, stories. Perhaps legends took on a life of their own, and all the differences are because as time passed and different people from different backgrounds told the stories, small changes were made. I kind of do tend to think that in the majority of stories passed down, there is some grain of truth or a deeper lesson to be learned. And the creature or horrific endings of the story is the cautionary tale to be aware of. So I don't know whether the cryptid called the Wood Devil is real or was real or is just a story created for small children to learn important life lessons. But I do know that life is still being discovered. And for that reason alone, I will admittedly say anything is possible.
One thing I do find like super interesting is the lumberjacks and like how all the logging was happening during that time period. I just think like when we were in Pittsburgh, we had like super tall trees, but did you notice that they looked different, the trees up there, than they do in the rest of New Hampshire?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is because that whole area was completely logged at one point. So all the growth had to regrow. And I think that just puts in the scale, like how much actual logging was occurring. And I don't know, it's really interesting to be like, hey, to your point, Kathy, is it an interdimensional being? Is it something that is real, that was up there? And maybe we don't see it a ton now because the logging did happen and they got pushed back to different territories. Or were there just a lot of logging companies up there and there was like some type of competition going on and they wanted to scare the other loggers from coming up there? Might you be stopped if you think there's a creature in the woods that's killing men?
Oh, you mean the logging companies started the rumor to get competition out of the way?
Yeah.
That's an
financial
interesting theory.
means, right? Like that could be super interesting.
I did read that some of the lumberjack theories out there were that they were making it up. So the newer guys coming in to scare them or to maybe like make it so that people wouldn't come and take the job up there, even if they were within the same company.
I'm in my 40s and this 21-year-old kid comes on. He can do twice the work I can do. I'm going to try to scare him off from his job maybe. It's interesting because greed does crazy things.
Sure does.
I do think it's so interesting, and there's not many unique cryptids to New Hampshire specifically. I think this is our guy, right? We got this creepy 7 to 8 foot skinny motherfucker who can hide behind trees and apparently just does some creepy high-pitched yell, like kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think like some of the stories, like there was only one where they heard the screeching noise, but then that goes back to, you know, the Abenaki lore. So those were like the only ones, but I don't know.
At first, I'm like, how could there be an animal of that size that we've never seen or categorized or documented? But then when you are there in that landscape, you know, driving down again that dirt road, that old logging path, I could see sections of that woods where people have probably never been.
When we were hiking down to that waterfall and I had turned back and I started walking back towards the car with the dog, and I realized that I had gone so far away from where everybody was, and I looked around and I knew I was on a path, but there was nothing. There was a little bit of a moment of panic where I was like, I just wandered off by myself. Like, that was smart. So if you're not on a path and you're back where there aren't trails and you're, you know, the first people to really explore that area, I don't know, maybe your mind can play tricks on you. And if it's been cleared, maybe the animal became extinct, its habitat was destroyed.
Yeah, my mind was playing tricks on me on the walk back. Me and Sean tried to climb the waterfall and you had gone back to the car with the kids and the dog, and we're like, I can't see them. Where are they? Like, we got a little nervous there. And it was only like a 15-minute walk.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. I think there was just that element of like, Chris and I were doing our thing. You all went back to the car. We didn't know you went back to the car. So we get down from the waterfall. We're like, where the fuck did they go?
Yeah. Well, we couldn't even find you. We were like, they were here. And I knew you had gone across, but which way did they go? And we couldn't see you. So we were like, I guess the best thing to do is just go back to the starting point that we know, try to stick to the path. But even being on a path.
Chris and Sean are probably dead. Let's go back to the car.
Yeah.
I had faith in you too.
Here's our chance. Run. Run. Well, Kathy, thank you for going ahead and doing the research and deep diving into New Hampshire's very own wood devil. We definitely appreciate it. It was a fun story. And gang, we hope you liked it too. If you did, be sure to go check out our Instagram, our Facebook, and our Reddit page, where Kathy will be dropping some images that'll support her story and research on the wood devils. And don't forget, these communities, we're out there and we're building them. So come over, come talk to us, talk to other like-minded individuals who are loving these episodes just like you are. And don't forget, we are always on the hunt for your stories. Have you seen the wood devil? Have you heard his big old cries in the woods? Have you seen his smiling little grin behind a tree? If you have, we want to hear those stories. And you can send them to thegang@weirderafterdark.com. And don't forget that if you are liking this shit, no, if you're absolutely loving this shit, the best thing you can do to help us out is to share it with someone that you know and someone that you love, and drop a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. And remember, it always gets a little weirder after dark.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.